And then I'd like to now welcome into the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center, who usually comes on Friday afternoon, but Russ Moore to talk about who's hot or who's not. Hoo-ah.
Up top.
That was
All right.
a pretty hard
High five.
Pretty hard high five.
It's the way to do it.
What's going on? What's hot?
The heat, the weather, the temperature. It's kind of warm out, 80, but it's very humid, so that's hot. And then there's a hot or not list that we should talk about.
We have a hot or not list. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Yeah, the kitchen can be hot.
The kitchen can be hot, and you know what can be really hot? The State House in August.
Yes, God, who wants to be in the State House in August?
Well, clearly not the Assembly. They went back very quickly. The Senate approved the budget. You had Speaker Nicholas Mattiello on the hot list.
Sure, I decided to put Speaker Nicholas Mattiello on the hot list because it seemed like he more or less got his way. The Senate reconvened and passed the budget that the House had passed, and they passed a couple of trailer bills, but they really don't have a lot of impact on the budget, or any impact on the budget. So I put Speaker Nicholas Mattiello on there because he kind of stuck to his guns, he held fast, and he got his way in the end. Only thing I would caution about is some of these more controversial bills that were passed that are going to be worked out in September when the House returns. Mm-hmm. I think the Senate might get their way on some of those bills. So there may have been a few deals cut, but that still remains to be seen. But as far as the budget and the car tax is concerned, you'd have to say that the House Speaker was a big winner in this fight.
Winner, had the Speaker on the hot list.
Yes.
Another elected official on the hot list, you put Nellie Gorbea.
Sure. There's been a lot of talk about the automatic voter registration bill that was passed by the House of Representatives and the Senate, but it was a big thing pushed by Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea, and undoubtedly she will tout this as a big legislative victory for her, a sign that she can get things done. And a lot of people are saying that the Secretary of State has a bright political future, and if she does decide to run for even higher office than she currently holds, I'm sure she will tout this as one of her major legislative or major accomplishments.
Now, former gubernatorial candidate Ken Block has been raising a lot of issues with
Yes,
voting here in Rhode Island as part of even a more national look. Do you think Ken Block has interest in getting back into politics?
Yes, I do. I think Mr. Block has a lot of ideas that he thinks are good ideas, and some of them are undoubtedly good ideas. I think he's a good government guy. Furthermore, I think Ken Block likes the spotlight. I think he likes to stay involved, and there's nothing wrong with that, to want to be out there, want to be involved. So I definitely think we haven't seen the last of him in the political arena, and I wish him the best. I hope he does run again because he adds a lot to the conversation.
Well, it was interesting again to see all this voting information being put out there. Does he decide to run for governor? Does he look at Secretary of State? It was very interesting data again that put forth by Ken, as you mentioned, putting Nellie Gorbea on the hot list.
That's a good point.
Had to toss that in there.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Jeff Flath with eNow, who was in here right after he had kind of got a little stonewalled at Commerce.
Sure, he got a little stonewalled at Commerce, didn't get the deal that he was looking for, but he just shows that we can, it doesn't take a special deal to be successful in Rhode Island or to do business in Rhode Island, and he's doing a lot of green projects too, so that's another thing. You can not only do business in Rhode Island, you can do green energy and environmentally friendly projects without the subsidies of government. So I want to show him some love and throw him on the hot list here. And
so he just put out a release this week, again, more business for This Is eNow, again, putting the solar panels on trucks. I guess he wanted to say, look, I didn't need it. I just wanted to point out the process of how it happened, how I thought I was, the ideal candidate for this type of.
You would think.
But he said, I'm going to take my ball. I'm just going to go and make sure that I'm successful otherwise. So Jeff Flath with eNow.
And best of luck to him moving forward. We need people like him to create jobs in the state to improve our economy.
Speaking of hot, landed on a national list. Bon Appetit's 50 hottest, best new restaurants in the country, Bucktown.
Sure, Bucktown, yeah. It was the only one in Rhode Island that landed on that list, and I thought that was obviously a great accomplishment for them. A lot of good fried food over there from what I hear. I haven't tried it yet, but it's certainly on my list of places to go. Have you been there yet?
I have not. You'll have to let me know.
I will let you know.
You're going to have to report between here. Oh, he's not going to be here next week. We'll see you next week.
I'm in trouble for that. But yeah, when I come back,
when
I will have gone to Bucktown.
I want the report from
greasy
Bucktown.
Food. I think I'm going to really enjoy it, but I'll let you know one way or the other.
Sounds good. Continuing on the hot list, Ray Watson.
Sure, I wanted to give, he's from the Mount Hope Neighborhood Association. He's a leader in Providence, and he came in and he spoke about something we're going to be talking about in a few minutes, the fact that there's not a lot of racial diversity in Mayor Elorza's cabinet, and I thought he made a lot of good points as to why there should be racial diversity in Elorza's cabinet, or in any cabinet, not just Mayor Elorza, and he made some really good points. Namely, he said that, there are these folks out there that say, just hire the best, doesn't matter what race they are. But this obviously doesn't apply to Mayor Alorza, but when you're hiring someone, and if you're not a minority, you might inherently think, without even knowing it, that someone that looks like you is more qualified. And that's why we have to give some consideration to folks who are part of our minority community. And I thought he made that point very eloquently, so I wanted to give him some love and give him a shout out on the hot list for that interview.
He had weighed in on that piece done by GoLocal again about why diversity is important, wanted to bring him in here, made the case here in GoLocal studio. So you put Ray Watson on that hot list. Let's keep going down here. How can it not be hot? The Warwick North girls softball team.
Oh, absolutely. Girl power, right? They're doing great things out there in Washington, winning games. They're in the elimination round right now.
They are, and literally as we speak, they won they undefeated in pool play.
Wow.
By boxcars. I mean, just, they had one close game.
Yep, one nit-tuck game, they won that, and they blew the doors off the opponents the other games.
First one now, it's single elimination. I mean, this is no joke. I mean, the pressure is on. So I think when you want to look for the best in sports, the best in softball and baseball, the Warwick North girls softball.
Absolutely, and best of luck to them moving forward.
When there's a lot to be said about baseball at this juncture now.
And we like the female athletes, right?
Yeah, so good luck. We're going to keep watching them. I think they're literally playing right now. This is out west
of
Washington.
All right.
Go Warwick North.
Yes, Warwick North.
Okay, finishing up the hot list. Let's flip over to the not list.
Okay.
We were just talking about Mayor Alorza.
Sure. GoLocal reported that Mayor Alorza's cabinet is actually less diverse than President Trump's cabinet, his top staffers. And President Trump, I would say, justifiably has come under consideration for having not so racially diverse cabinet. Boy, that president, he's come under fire for a lot of things.
He might be next on the not
Is there
list.
anything he hasn't come under fire for? And I think that's justifiable. But yet here in Providence, we have a mayor who's a member of the minority community, and his cabinet is less diverse than President Trump. So I find that a little bit ironic. I find that a little bit troubling, and obviously it's not something that he's doing on purpose. But again, like Mr. Watson said, perhaps we should give a little more consideration, make a bigger attempt to make our government reflect the diversity of our city. I would say one thing I did want to, say about the mayor is he's got a lot of females in some top administrative positions in his administration. So we should give him a little bit of credit for that. Again, I don't think he's doing that on purpose. I just think he's hiring who he thinks is the most qualified people. So I did want to give him a little bit of a nod for that while putting him on the not hot list for having a racially non-diverse staff, top staffers.
And you mentioned President Trump again. Has he ever been? I will have to look. Has he ever been on your hot list?
Yes, he's been on my hot list several times, but he seems to be a fixture on the not hot list as of late. This time, I was talking about this earlier. It seems like he's one of these people who's obsessed with loyalty and the concept of people have to be loyal. But he doesn't seem to be loyal to many people at all. I mentioned Anthony Scaramucci. He made this big hire and he named him his communications director. And within 10 days, he fired him. And he fired him for making vulgar, lewd comments. So let's get this straight. President Trump has fired someone for making vulgar and lewd comments? If that's not the height of hypocrisy.
Don't say as I do as I say.
Not as I do.
Not as I do.
Not say as I say. That's the way. Do as I say, but do not say as I say. So President Trump I'm not really high on the president right now, and I guess I'm really in the vast majority with America right now. So.
No, you had Scaramucci on the hot list last week.
Yeah, I thought he could come in and bring some cohesion to the staff and new sheriff in town and make the thing run a little more smoothly than it had. But he's gone. The president has fired Mr. Scaramucci. So, he in his personal life, his wife has divorced him is filed for divorce within the last 10 days. He lost his job. He's out. He had a bad interview with the New Yorker. But I will say this, Mr. Scaramucci is a talented guy, and don't lose any sleep for him because he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and he will continue to make money in the private sector. So, yeah, don't shed too many tears for Mr. Scaramucci, but it was definitely a not hot week for him.
Don't cry for him.
No.
So let's keep going down the list here. A piece that GoLocal had written about the shakeups in Wayland Square. What's happening with retail?
It's in a downward spiral everywhere. I mean, look at Providence Place. Malls now offering free parking for non-peak hours during the day because people don't go to the mall as much. Emerald Square Mall in North Attleboro is starting to look like a ghost town. They finally closed the dead mall, Midland Mall, or Rhode Island Mall, whatever we were calling it for years. That mall's finally dead. And it's, retail shops are closing up. I do want to give some love to Cranston in particular. Garden City, because they seem to be doing gangbusters down there. It seems like they're always opening new shops. I can't find a place to park when I go down there. So it seems like outdoor malls are doing a little bit better. But Wayland Square has lost, a bookstore. It's lost a clothing store. So it's lost some major businesses. So it's sad to see retail on the decline. And a major part of it is internet. It's e-commerce. Jeff Bezos is just become the richest man in the world right now. And that's the reason, because so many people are doing their shopping online. Americans are lazy. They like to buy stuff in front of a computer. They don't like to go to the store. So it's sad, but hopefully everyone lands on their feet.
We will see. And then finally here as we wrap up, a video that GoLocal had broken. It was a fight outside of a nightclub. Violence in Providence. Oh my God, what
a disgusting video. That really made me kind of sick to my stomach to see that type of brutality. The city of Providence, I mean, the biggest question is, where were the police, right? This thing is going on for, it was only like a few minutes, but it seemed like a long time. You would think that we'd have a police presence in that area at that time of the night, in a place like that, at a nightclub. And there wasn't. And there were no bouncers to break up this altercation. It was a disgusting, troubling, disconcerting video. I did see that GoLocal reported that they arrested one of these perpetrators. And that's great, but I think an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So I think we need a stronger police presence, because you can tell me that violent crime is down till the cows come home, but it doesn't feel like it. It does not feel like that's the case.
Well, this video comes on the heels again of additional video secured by GoLocal showing again those ATVs and the motorbikes just roving through the cities. We had talked with a woman who said that she felt threatened, was actually threatened by one of those. So it's the cell phone culture. People will take pictures, post pictures, let things going
Sure.
on, but it kind of raises some eyebrows as to what takes place in the capital city.
It is not a good public relations video for the city of Providence. I mean, I don't think anyone saw that video on GoLocal and said, honey, let's go out to dinner. Let's go out to dinner in Providence tonight. I think they said, let's go to Cranston, Lincoln, North Providence. And it's sad, because we have a great city. It's a wonderful place, but we do need to make sure that we're safe and that we have a larger police presence around the nightlife districts.
Well, I'm going to let you go be out
All
there.
right.
Go be safe.
Big high five?
High
All
five.
right. I will see you in 2 weeks.
See you 2 weeks. Russ Moore is going to leave us high and dry next week on Friday. But we always appreciate him coming in to talk about who's hot and who's not. Usually writes a fairly controversial column about who's rising, who's falling in the world of Rhode Island and national politics. It's good to get his take here in the GoLocal studio at the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center. So always want to thank Russ Moore for coming in. And don't forget to read him on Mondays. Writes a column on Mondays and then Hot or Not on Fridays. So stay tuned for what he's got coming this